is, running it down on these niggas.
Sex, drugs, money, and murder, my nigga. You know how we get it, my nigga. Still be painting them bitches, my nigga. Ripping that roll and fucking your bitches. Sex, drugs, money, and murder. 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 Niggas, they never gon' hurt you. Niggas will never will hurt you. Sex, drugs, money, and murder. Sex, drugs, money, and murder.
How the traps right, understand how to get that. Ran down on them niggas with a flip back. Knew I never seen another nigga live like that. I was still getting stacks back. Had to fuck around getting them packs back. Niggas
still want to be an artist and want to stay a star. Don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing. Come to Death Row.
I mean, the whole crowd started booing, and man, I thought to myself, like, why would you do that?
The East Coast don't love Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. The East Coast ain't got no love for Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Death Row. Y'all don't love us. Y'all don't love us. Well, let it be known then. We know y'all East Coast. We know we at East Coast and F. I'm the executive producer that a comment was made about a little bit earlier. But check this out. Contrary to what other people may feel, I would like to say that I'm very proud of Dr. Dre, of Death Row, and Suge Knight for their accomplishments. And all this East and West that need to...
When Tupac got killed, I was in the studio like the next day with Biggie, Lil C's. I was serving them some weed. You know what I'm saying? I was serving them weed and all that, you know, and a lot of East Coast rappers that we hung with. It really wasn't no East Coast, West Coast, you know, because we was hanging with them.
Right, but they were drawing it up like it was.
Yeah, it was the niggas in the street we was really fighting back at home, that type of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And just the media and some of probably the executives pushed that line to focus, you know, clog your memory and all that. You think you, so while you over here thinking this, they stealing the publisher.
Right.
This and this. Like now, we got to go back to Tupac and State, nigga, and fight for all our shit, you know what I'm saying? Because it's that time. Everything's finna be up. That's why they sold it to Snoop.
And you're into rap music. What's your thoughts on this weekend's killing of Notorious B.I.G.?
Sad. I mean, man had a child and stuff like that, you know. Be able to raise his child and stuff like that, you know. Seems like when you get a whole lot of money, it's like you get gunned down for stuff like that, you know. Just make a target out you. So, you know.
Do you think there's a war going on here between the East and West Coast factions?
Possibly. This might have ticked off something right here. No. It might be hard for them to come over to each other's side now, you know. But it might be like that.
Yeah. If you can tell me again about the possibility of a war between the East and the West Coast?
Possibly. I mean, because when Snoop them shot a video over there, they got shot at. You know, this happened a while back, but from Puffy and Snoop, you know, they supposed to have crushed all that, you know, possibility of anything going on, but now they big, got shot. I want to know what Puffy gonna do. You know, is Puffy gonna, you know.
Do you think part of it is the lyrics? Do they encourage violence?
Well, I think if you weak-minded, it could possibly, but you know, you have to look over the lyrics. You know, I think it's all about trying to survive, trying to get some money, trying to make it. You know, I mean, because the lyrics is like an art form. If you can't enjoy the music if you don't know about the art form from the beginning to the end. You know.
Some people seem to just hear the violent message and that's it.
Well, this world is violent. You know, when you walk out the door right now, your life is not guaranteed to you. You know, I'm sure Biggie Small wasn't expecting to get killed. You know, because the whole time that he was drug dealing when, you know, he was younger, you know, he didn't get killed then. I mean, you never know when you're going to get killed. I mean, it's possible it might be the lyrics, but I doubt it. You know, I mean, if it's meant for you to die, then you never know when you're going to go. Just have to look at it like that.
All right, well, I appreciate your time.
All right, man.
You get to work.
All right.
How you feel about the people that blame Tupac for the East Coast, West Coast beef? Because like you said, you know, before Tupac came into the picture, Suge and Puffy already had issues.
I feel it's sucker shit. I feel it's bullshit. I feel that whole thing. New York felt like because it was rap, they should be number one. The West Coast was in the game and they was getting money. It was outweighing the East Coast and they was catching feelings. Honestly, that's what I feel. Pac and I we got a bunch of allies on the East Coast. We all from the East Coast. I'm from Southside Jamaica, Queens, you know. But I got friends internationally. I'm all world. We all world. So there is affection for New York because we was from there. Pac was always trying to make alliances. As nice and smooth. As there's so many East Coast artists that we allies with. Tretch, Latifah, I could go on. But some of that is bullshit. I remember them hating on Cuban and Lynch Mob when they first came out. The Cuban Lynch Mob couldn't get no play on the radio. Way before we, kicked off. So that sentiment had been there.
They wanted Puff more than they wanted Big. Whoever, Big was a casualty. Whoever put that hit out, they put it on Puff. Big just was the casualty. And then they had to pay up still because they said, Puff blew the light. And by them, Puff blowing the light, we blowing the light, and they taking Big, they still had to pay up because they gave the okay. The person who was wanting to kill Puff gave the okay to kill Big. So they still had to pay.
Puffy called me back in the day. He called me. He was like, I just want you to know I ain't have nothing to do with your brothers. I know who you are, but we never met. And I just want to call you man to man, let you know that I ain't have nothing to do with your brother's death. It was in the early 2000s. LA Times had just dropped an article in the newspaper implicating him as well. I told him I appreciate the call, but the truth is yet to come out, so we gonna see. Shout out to Big Boy. He hit me up. He was like, yo, man, Puffy, see, they want to talk to you about the whole situation about your brother. And, especially back then, I wanted all the information I could get. Yeah, he was scared. Yes, I agree. I do agree that he was probably terrified for his life. So if that is the case, it's also quite feasible that he put up money to get Pac killed. And on top of it, he had his own problems with Suge, before Pac. So, yeah, I get it. You should be scared.
So you believe Tupac and Biggie murder was in-house?
I believe Biggie and Tupac was in-house. All had something to do with death row people.
That's a very strong comment to make, man.
Listen, it came from their own mouth. DJ Quick. I think they got one of them bad boy niggas. They said they was gonna get him. Who was they? Had to be Death Row. Somebody affiliated with them. Somebody he was around there. Who Pac had problems with? People at Death Row. He was firing people. Suge was firing people. He didn't want to deal with them no more. Wasn't nobody from Bad Boy that killed Pac. Nah. Not at all. Now, if Wolf was out there and his crew like he wanted to, it's a possibility that any of that could happen. But that wasn't, man, listen here, man. You can't, listen to me. There's no way, bro. There's no way that I'm going to have a convoy of cars and somebody's going to ride up to my principal and kill them. There's no way, unless it's in-house. Somebody we know, somebody we cool with, some familiar face
that we let go past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 different cars. Because if we don't know you, what's somebody gonna say? They're gonna get out of line. Yo, get behind that guy. Who's that? Go right on close to him, blow your horn, do all kinds of stuff. Pull on the side of him, go up on the sidewalk. What you doing, man? That's how you do. These are law enforcement officers. Some of them there, I'm assuming that. They had a couple of law enforcement officers that was working, following Suge them. They're not going to let that happen. Especially after Pac had a fight in the MGM. Come on, man. Save it for David. Tell somebody else. You trying to bump me in the head with that. Now I'm Sam Sausage Head if you want me to believe that. See, people don't understand is that then they say, yo, Gene Deal changed the story. Yo, when you get new evidence, when you start seeing stuff and people start coming out with stuff that they never called before, then certain things going to have to change. Certain things going to have to be different. Because now you know new stuff. Russell Poole had that shit right all at the first time, man. And that's why they probably killed him. Allegedly.
I want to hear what you guys think about what happened.
I think they told him not to come to LA no more.
Here, talk
and
to
so
me.
he came to LA and he got busted on. You know what I'm saying? They peeled this cap. And so now people from the West Coast can't go to the East Coast because now they're gonna be scared somebody's gonna shoot them. And then everybody the East Coast know they can't come over here and be talking about any woof. You know what I'm saying? And that's it.
What about, I mean, what do you think of the music? Do you think it promotes violence?
The music, it don't promote violence because simply everybody has their own mind. You know, people gonna do what they want to do. Yeah. Only music, you know what I'm saying, if you give a 10-year-old kid with a gun, you know, music can, you know, tell him anything, but that's the parents' fault, you know, if a kid do that. You know what I'm saying? But anybody, a mainframe, you know, a mind frame or whatever, that's what I was trying to say. You know, if a teenage kid, you know, you ain't gonna do nothing like that. So music don't have nothing to do with it. You know, as far as Biggie Smalls, you know, he had it coming to him, you know, and it's just like you can't live, you know, the way he was living, try to live off fat, and then try to have beef with somebody on the West Coast and then come over here and then enjoy the luxury and stuff, because you forgot when Tupac was shot, he was upstairs chilling. He did not come down to see if he was all right. So he already had it coming back to him, you know, and I think it's just going to be squashed after that, you know, and ain't nothing else to it, you know. And I just say, you know, I just hope my boy Snoop watches back, you know.
And Biggie Smalls got shot because he shot Tupac because Tupac did it to his wife. You know what I'm saying? She was sprung on him. So they peeled his cap just because of that. And that's probably it. And oh yeah, and the music get me pumped. The music get me pumped. I don't think it promotes violence. It get me pumped. It get me ready to go out and party.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shake my rear end.
That's basically it.
All right, cool.
experiment. And the only person that he can look at and say, I know, or any figment of I could think was this nigga.
There was a plan put into motion that could have ended the East Coast-West Coast beef, and not a lot of people know this, but Suge Knight and Tupac were planning to open up a division of Death Row Records for the East Coast. And what's crazy about this is that they were going to set up shop in New Jersey for the first one, and they were very close to launching it, and they were going to sign 50 Cent as the star rapper of Death Row East Coast. And they were also going to sign artists such as Craig Mack, Run DMC were in the conversation, and the whole idea was for them to take control of both coasts. But the reason why this could have actually stopped the whole feud is the fact that they were going to be merging in maybe certain artists from Bad Boy Records and from other labels into Death Row. And this is a real thing. There's interviews where Tupac is actually wearing an East Coast Death Row t-shirt.
Not only that, but I think if you go into the Defiant ones, he's actually like holding the sign up, right? Like he was promoting it before he unfortunately passed away. So.
Nas recently put out a song called Death Row East where he kind of goes into that story about how there actually was a plan to get both coasts to align in some way.
Kill this whole new vibe everybody want to be on about it being a war between the East Coast and the West Coast.
Right.
It's really just a problem with two rappers, and
Right.
everybody want to make it a bigger thing than it is.
Everybody wants to get involved in everyone else's problem.
Exactly. You know how nosy
Drama with a
people is.
comma.
So we got it going on. I got my man Buckshot. You know what I mean? I got Smith and Wesson in here.
Brooklyn.
I got Greg Nice, the whole boot camp clique representing. Boot camp and Outlaws, we all just gonna team up and just do this right. With Greg Nice, a lot of other people.
Squash all that drama.
Squash the drama. Let's get back to making some money. That's what it's all
That's
about.
what it's all
making
about.
money, putting out
That's what I'm
music.
trying to do. I don't got any problems with anybody.
I've been watching
Oh,
you.
you like
doing
it?
good. You
Thanks,
doing
man.
good. You
I like
doing
your stuff
pretty
too,
good.
man. You and
Yeah.
Snoop are the homies, aren't you?
Yeah, we homies.
All right.
That's all
Hey,
that
hey.
is. All righty then.
Well, we'll be back with
Thank
more
you.
of the homies.
All
Yeah,
righty.
Kool-Aid 96.
Thank
Why don't you guys stick around for lots more fun? Two of America's Most Wanted. Stay tuned.
That's right.
How powerful Tupac and I was. You know what I'm saying? Because we two individual people, we waged a coastal beef. You know what I'm saying? One man against one man made a whole West Coast hate a whole East Coast and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And that really bugged me out. Like, yo, Duke don't like me, so this whole coast don't like me. You know what I'm saying? I don't like him, so my whole coast don't like him. It just kind of let me know how much strength I have. So what I'm trying to do now, you know what I'm saying, with his untimely demise or whatever, I gotta be the one to flip it and take my power and flip it like, yo, they gotta be dead, you know what I'm saying, because he can't do that. You know what I'm saying? He can't be the one to be like, yo, I want to squash it because he's gone. So I gotta take the weight from both sides. That's why I'm out here, you know what I'm saying? We hit every club, every radio station, you know. We get our little eye screws and everything, but I just tell them straight up, yo, you know.
Anyway, they had like their little words, right? And they went outside, and they went in the middle of the street.
They were in the middle with Puff
The
and
middle
Suge?
of the street, Puff and Suge.
Wow.
Outside in Atlanta.
This is at your party.
Yeah.
Is it a calm conversation or they?
No, it's not a calm conversation.
Okay. But
it's
not
a
just them.
It's a very hostile conversation.
And their crews is
Ain't no crew. I mean, Suge
wow.
has got one person. Puff got a crew. Suge got one dude with him.
Okay.
Right? And all I know is Puff started drinking his champagne while they was talking, and
Drink
I
some
guess
more
somebody
champagne.
must have said something to him. And next thing I know, you know, Wolf, rest in peace, you know, he let off a shot and let off a couple of shots, and Suge Man got killed right there.
Wow.
In Atlanta.
Wow.
That was the beginning of that whole shit.
Wow.
Like, I mean, it started at the Source Awards, but I'm saying for
Like
to
on
get,
some
once
real
it got real.
So you're saying like Big and maybe Pac might have been like.
They ain't even had nothing to do with this.
Yeah, but it affected like it's.
Yeah, it went into that, but they ain't had nothing to do with this.
Right.
This was all like CEO to CEO shit.
Wow. And what Puff are we talking about then? Did he have Big at that time or no?
Yeah, of course.
He had
Yeah,
Big,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
what did Suge? Who was Suge? What
Had
artist
the
he had?
whole Death Row.
He had the whole Death Row.
Yeah. I mean, this
No,
is
he's
like
saying this after the
what I'm
Source
saying. This is
Awards. He's
after
saying
the-
after he's saying that.
Yeah, this is
I'm
after.
thinking he's saying
Yeah, this is after the Source Awards.
My
This
bad.
is like, you know, it's after the Source Awards, and I, you know, I started having these birthday parties where I call people and have everybody come to my birthday. So it's like,
Now, in the documentary, you addressed the Tupac situation for the first time. The first time ever you actually addressed the situation. You know what I'm saying? Everyone always wanted to know that. And was that tough for you, or that was something that it felt good after you got it off your chest?
Listen, I always wanted to tell a story. The problem is this. You'll never be able to change Tupac fans' minds on whatever Pac said. It's almost like the Trump fans that still believe he won the presidential race. You feel me?
A good analogy.
But the thing about it is this. The nigga that actually robbed and shot Pac is on YouTube telling niggas he did it. You feel me?
Wow.
But they don't want that to be the guy. They want me to be the guy.
Yeah. You know, people believe what they want to believe. You can't stop them from believing what they want to believe.
Because I know that he did it.
Wow.
Not that I sent them, but I know he did it. You feel me? Because when you're in the hood, you know what everything goes down, who did what. Right? So they don't want to listen to him because he didn't say that Jack was involved.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So my thing, anybody who know me like Akon told him the other day, if I do something to you, right, I will tell you I did it.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Because I don't care about what another nigga want to do in these streets, because we can go head up. All you got to do is suit up, and I'm with you.
Right.
Thing you do. But as long as the statute of limitation ran out, and I don't have to worry about the law, I'll tell the world I did it. And I'm still telling you I didn't do it.
Wow.
And I had nothing to do with it.
Wow.
There's finally been an arrest in the murder. Does that bring you any kind of relief, or is it just more fury? What's your reaction to that?
I had a tough day that day. You know, I felt like, sure, okay, they've arrested someone that was in the car. This person has been saying that they were in the car that night. I want to know who called the hit. That will bring me peace.
You know what I'm saying? If he doesn't lie, we don't have an East Coast, West Coast beef. We don't have, like, he's dead because he lied.
Give me the lie.
He said that Biggie set him up. You know Biggie didn't set you up. You know he didn't set you up. You know that he didn't know you was coming to the studio. You know that. Why would you say that? You know, you're 1,000% sure. Why would you say that? That is the reason why they took our mans from us. Because one lie.
Do you think it was a lie or a misunderstanding?
No, it was a lie. And he knew that. He knew it had nothing to do with Biggie, 1,000%.
Then why do you think he said that?
Because he didn't want to say what really happened. How about that?
I don't know what the fuck he talking about, but it's unfortunate. People is biased, you know. You know what I mean? I get it. People, Big always gonna have somebody supporting him in some kind of way. You know, I think Pac did work with Clark Kent a little bit. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, that's kind of bullshit. And some niggas need attention. Some niggas need to be attention, need to be in the conversation, need to say something, but you still talking about Pac 30 years later, so I don't know what the fuck wrong with niggas.
My audience, my people who are watching, our friends, people who are buying the records, they want to know the truth about what's going on.
I bet they do.
Yeah, they do. Now it's up to you how you want to.
I mean, you gotta come at me, boo. You gotta
I'm saying, I'm talking. I'm here.
Get to the point.
All right, what's the situation with you and Big? What's the situation with you and Tupac? The LA situation. What's going on?
Whoa. All right, you gotta
Is there
start at
any?
one point. Okay.
I'm going through all of it.
Okay. Situation with me and Tupac, there really never was a situation. I mean, we met. He was really nice. He asked me to work on his album. He told me he could get it approved or whatever, get clearance from the label. And then I found out that he probably couldn't. I was out there working with another group. I won't name them. They have nothing to do with Death Row.
Okay.
And I was writing for them. That's how I met him. I did a reference vocal for another group I won't name.
Okay.
And it ended up that they were going to try to use the vocal on Tupac's album. So I guess it was for him or whatever. I really don't know. But then I come back home and the first thing I heard has nothing to do with his record is that me and him were like involved or whatever. That's not true at all. I mean,
it was strictly business, no pleasure.
It wasn't even business. It would have been business, but it never got that far.
It was you and somewhere else, and then it was moved on to his project, supposedly.
Pretty much.
Okay.
It never was moved on, and my voice is not on his album.
Okay.
But all the stories that he concocted and all that, I mean, he ain't got to do that.
Okay.
I mean, if they got beef with each other, him and Big, then they're two men. They need to go at each other and not, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I ain't got nothing to do with him. I did, Big is still my husband legally. I am having his baby. No, I'm not pregnant by Tupac, and I don't know who my baby's father is. I'm pregnant by Big because that was my husband, and that was the only person that I was laying with. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Keep
now,
it real.
whether he was just laying with me is another story, but we ain't going to get off into that.
We're talking about faith right now. All right.
We're talking about me. But anyway, I'm still me. I'm chilling. I mean, as far as me and him, we don't really interact right now because I think he's being kind of tasteless about the way he's doing a lot of things.
Right.
And I've been waiting for the chance to say this, because regardless to whatever's going on with us, he's still a married man. He all on the radio talking about he's sleeping with this one and that one, and and that's not right. Even if I was involved with somebody, I wouldn't be out doing it like that, especially not when I'm carrying this man's baby. You know what I'm saying? We are legally married, but we don't live together, anything like that. Every once in a while, we run into each other, but as of right now, I'm kind of bitter, so I really don't think it'd be a good thing if we did, run into each other.
Okay, let's make up another scenario. You and him not running into each other. You and this.
I mean, we run into each other, but I'm just saying, as far as the legal thing, it's not really active right now. We both spoken to lawyers, but nobody really signed a paper.
Make it official.
Right.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, he was on the radio recently talking about Little Kim.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. That's phony.
Okay.
I'm real, first of all. I'm real cool, I'm real down. You know what I'm saying? If you cool with me, we cool, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? And this was somebody who I had up in my house, taking her to the gym, about to take her shopping, give her my style.
Right.
Things like that, and all in all, she's sleeping with my husband. It's like a big soap opera, which I feel stupid even sitting here talking about it, but it's all a part of my life. But I'm not even all up in that. I'm chilling. I'm me. I'm going to stay me. God going to take care of me.
No
I ain't up in all of that mess.
Question.
That's them. They can have it. I mean,
they are the faithless.
I probably never would have found out because I didn't know all that time we was married. Yeah, they were sleeping together. I believe he said on the radio that it started on a tour. That's not true.
Right.
She was in my house and things like that. Come to find out. But then, I didn't even. That's not even the reason I stopped speaking to her. I just stopped speaking to her because I could tell that she was kind of phony. But I guess she was real phony.
Right.
But whatever. It ain't I don't have to have no beef because I'm chilling. None of it like.
You don't gotta go there. Just say a prayer for him and keep moving.
Exactly.
All
Because
right.
you know, in all of this drama or whatever, I ain't never do nothing wrong. I'm being looked at probably by some people like, you know, I'm the bad person, but little do they know that I was, you know, I was subjected to a lot of unnecessary things, and I was just this man's wife, you know, trusting him and a lot of other people, and you know, it happens.
All right.
How am I gonna forcibly do anything to a girl after she did it to me consensually? And that's not something I'm making up. That's what they said. They said that. The girl came to court and said she did this, she did that, she called my hotel, it was good. She said that, not me. Now why am I gonna force her? I'm in the same room with me. Why am I the only one in court right now? Why is the cameras all on me? And in the report, in all these charges, I didn't do nothing. I'm charged with being in concert with some guys. Well, where they at? Why me? Because I'm Tupac. No, I'm not angry at them. I'm angry at the system. I don't want nobody else to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to go to jail for something I didn't do. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to be the scapegoat. I want to be, only way I've been practicing my whole life to live my life is to be responsible for what I do. I don't know how to be responsible for what every black male did. I don't know.
You talked about the jury. You talked about the jury and the
trial, and they say, you know, here's a rap star, here's an actor. What kind of sexual engagement? This isn't safe sex. What do you say to that?
But it is safe sex, because in the trial, in the transcripts, if y'all dig deep and be reporters, you'll find out I wore a condom. It was her who sodomized me. It wasn't me who went down in the dance club and ate her out. It was her in the dance club who had oral sex with me. She should be charged, not me. What kind? They're making like I'm some big gruesome animal, a sex animal, which is a...
Your charge involves a so-called gangbang in the hotel.
No, it doesn't. It does not. But if you listen right in there, none of these charges of this gangbang, none of this gangbang stuff came out in the trial. She says people was rubbing her ass, grabbing her ass. Where are these people? Where are these people? Sex, before that. Come on, follow me, follow me.
Let me ask you this about the guns. Tupac, are you sure? What about the guns? Getting in trouble?
No, it's not my liking for guns. What about the NRA? We all have a right to bear arms. I have that same right as you do. Just because I'm black doesn't mean I shouldn't have a gun. I have a legally own guns. I legally own guns. Why would I come to New York and be unlawfully owning 2 guns? Who has 2 guns? Who carries 2 illegal guns?
Tupac, you were. What about the jury?
And mind you, a week before I went.
My friend who was working next door, taking her back to Jersey.
American system, but for me to have faith in the American system, these juries and everybody else has to, you know what I'm saying, play the same role and to keep an open mind. I can't, you know, I don't know who owns the gun.
How old are you, 23?
I'm not supposed to be having, you know, the Philadelphia, I can't do shows, everybody's already, I'm guilty. Even though the only crime I've been convicted of is fighting. Hitting somebody in the face with my fists, ever, only crime. But I can't even go to Philly, I can't go to Texas, I can't go nowhere. So
You're maintaining your innocence.
I'm maintaining my innocence because I'm loud. I didn't shut up, but I didn't think they was gonna take it this serious. Me keep talking out. I didn't think it was gonna be a matter of life and death. I thought, well, I won't be super.
Played his part to the T and just made it seem like he was, you know, jumped, ambushed, and that whole shit. So that's a whole. You use a new tape. So that was how that went. You know what I'm saying, dude? In fact, that created so much turmoil in the game, and you know, my famous quote all the time be if Pac would have just kept it this much real, a lot of shit wouldn't have happened in this game. If he wouldn't have been in them videos talking about he been shot 5 times and just stirring up that whole thing like dudes really did him wrong, that it really wouldn't have got as ugly. You know what I'm saying? And I think one of the reasons why a lot of the things that stirred up around the whole henchman thing was that me and dude was real cool. However, it just was that, you know, the night when he came to the studio, I had called him to come to the studio, and you know, dude have a hell of an imagination, really. You know what I'm saying? He just made that into a whole story that somebody called him to the studio and set up, and you know what I'm saying? And, you know, it just the whole, all the lies made it dangerous.
Telling Keefe D this, out of my mouth to his, he better do a snowfall, he better do a freeway wreck, and tell him, because partner, your story don't line up, now they don't need you anymore. Man, it's time to eliminate him, but this is bigger than what people think. It was a move to get rid of Suge. Suge did not play with the rules that white America wanted him to play. Look at the people that profited. Everybody that didn't have the story of what they wanted to be here, Frank Alexander, dead. Michael Moore, dead. Montreal, dead. All the members in the car with Orlando, but Keefe D, dead. He only alive for right now. Everybody believe, well, Keefe D said he got a deal with the feds, who was his handler, a deputy DA. He made a proffer agreement with the feds because he got busted with drugs. You have to start looking at logic. Negroes, we deal with emotion. Oh yeah, he killed. And 9 months later, after Orlando gets killed, amazingly, the Compton PD go to his girlfriend's house and get the murder weapon. Gaddafi was one of the outlaws. He described who arm was out, and it wasn't no tall, dark-skinned dude that he described. And Gaddafi dead too, right? It's bigger than Keefe D. He better do a snowfall. He better tell us, say, man, who made that story up for you?
There's a bunch of questions. I had a hashtag Ask Mace. The night that Biggie Small died, where were you and what did you do in the aftermath right after Biggie Small died?
Where was I? I was in a hotel. What people? That sounds like a Keefe D question.
No, they didn't say you was involved. They wanted I guess they knew everybody from Bad Boy was out there.
Oh, yeah, I was in the hotel. I was actually in a hotel with a young lady.
And when you heard this information, what was your next actions?
My next actions? After what?
When you heard Biggie died, did you stay in your hotel room? Did you leave out? Did you want to go back to New York?
I actually was trapped in a hotel.
Now I want to ask a question. What do you mean trapped?
It was about probably like 70 or so bloods in the hallway. I couldn't even leave my room.
How'd you get out?
One of the guys.
Why would it be 70 bloods in your hallway after Biggie Smalls died?
Actually, after Big got killed, they was probably looking for more Bad Boy artists. And I couldn't even leave the room till Gene Dill, the officer had to come get me.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
I was left in LA. And from that day I always said, you know what, I'm out of here.
When you say you was left, what do you mean you was left?
Like I was left.
Who left you?
I came there with people. I didn't leave with those people. You know how it go.
My last question on this situation, because you must be saving this for the book. How did you eventually get out the hotel? Where did you go when Gene came to pick you up? How'd you get back to New York or the East Coast or wherever?
To my recollection, I think we had to go to Vegas or something like that to get back to New York.
There you have it. That's where Mace was at, and that's what happened in the aftermath of Biggie Small's death.
Well,
we got info up here, stats. Shit's get crazy when it's time for the movie, nigga.
Yeah.
And no Keefe D. We ain't on no time.
That's why after that, that's why I always kept that in my mind. Like, oh yeah, this how I go. Right. When it get crazy, every man for itself.
I got your back, bro.
Yeah.
I'll take one for you. Pause, man. My nigga, man. I ain't gonna leave you.
And that kind of made me the way I think. So it was kind of bad.
You know, me and Keefe D played on the same Pop Warner football team. And whatever the circumstances, if he had an involvement with anything, if he didn't have any involvement in anything, who want to see? I wouldn't wish somebody going to prison on my worst enemy.
The DA says that Keefe D was in the car with his nephew, and that presumably his nephew, according to the DA, is the one that shot Tupac, and that it was done with the full knowledge of Keefe. Do they have it right?
It was only 2 people in the car. And Pac not going to tell the story. I ain't going to tell the story, but I tell you this. I never had nothing bad to say about Orlando because, number one, he wasn't the shooter. Number two, he came to my hearing and told to let me go and told the truth. They still didn't let me go.
If you are called to testify in this case?
I wouldn't be.
Why not?
Yeah, I wouldn't be.
Why not?
Well, number one, because I'm not going to get on the stand and testify on somebody for what?
They seem to be saying that Orlando was the shooter and Keefe was in on it, that he had full knowledge of what was going down, and it was revenge for Orlando getting beaten up by Tupac and his team at the MGM after the Tyson fight. Is that correct?
No.
Then who shot Tupac?
It wasn't Anderson, so that's all I got to say about that part.
To summarize, you are saying Orlando was not the shooter, although you won't say who the shooter was. You are not saying whether Keefe was involved in any way in the shooting, and you are saying that if you're called to testify by either side, you will not comply, you will not testify. Do I have that right?
1,000%. I wouldn't go, I wouldn't testify, none of that.
The intersection behind me is where Tupac was killed back in September of 1996. He would die 6 days later from his injuries. And we have learned the grand jury met at least 5 times as prosecutors presented their evidence against Wayne Davis. Transcripts the 8 News Now investigators obtained paint a picture of what witnesses testified in secret grand jury hearings before the panel voted to indict Dwayne Keefe D. Davis in the murder of Tupac Shakur.
Ultimately, our persistence in this investigation has paid off.
It's an investigation that began with this video from 1996, a fight involving Shakur, record exec Suge Knight, and members of a rival gang. Hours later, Davis, the kingpin of that other group, allegedly ordered the retaliatory shooting. A Southside Crips gang affiliate testifying, Keefe is the one who's going to make all the arrangements and all the plans until that gun goes into somebody else's hand. Davis was sitting in the front passenger seat of another car when it pulled up side by side to Shakur's. In his book, Davis says he handed a gun to a passenger in the back seat who then fired. Metro Police showing this diagram Friday with Orlando Anderson, Davis's nephew, and DeAndre Smith in the back seat. Both are deceased. The gang member saying when he passed the firearm to Orlando didn't have a clear shot. Big Dre is 6'6". At this time, he's 370, 400. He's big. You're not going to reach over like that because shells would have been popping all in Big Dre's face and all kind of stuff. When asked if Smith was the shooter, the gang affiliate told the grand jury he did the shooting.
Dwayne Davis was the shot caller for this group of individuals that committed this crime, and he orchestrated the plan that was carried out.
A member of Shakur's security team saying he saw a, quote, larger size arm fire the shots. That man also telling the grand jury in the moments after the shooting, he approached a wounded Shakur who told him, quote, get on the ground. They're going to shoot you. Shakur wasn't talking about Davis's group, but responding police officers who thought the shooter was among the rapper's entourage. Also shown to the grand jury videos and other exhibits like photos that have never been seen by the public before. We expect to get our hands on that next week. Near Flamingo and Koval, I'm David Sharns, 8 News Now.
You good?
It's the big one in the red.
What's on, bro? Oh, yeah. Girl. Hey.
Yo, Biggie, how do you feel? Biggie, what have you got to say?
It's a big guy, right? It's a big guy, right? You want a red? Oh, I gotta get you the red.
It wasn't too big for the car, but he's big.
Another shot. Another shot.
The murder of the popular rap star known as the Notorious B.I.G. It happened early yesterday morning. Bill Whitaker has a story.
It's like a sad, numbing refrain heard too often. Another gangster rapper gunned down. This time, 24-year-old Notorious B.I.G., a.k.a. Biggie Smalls, killed in an apparent drive-by shooting outside a Los Angeles party early Sunday.
At this point, we do have some suspect descriptions.
His death is rocking die-hard rap fans.
To the hip-hop community, it was a big loss because he was like one of the best artists that, you know, ever rapped or was ever in hip-hop.
He was born Christopher Wallace and became notorious and wealthy, parlaying his lengthy rap sheet with drug, weapons, and assault charges into a popular gangsta persona and platinum-plated artist for New York-based Bad Boy Entertainment.
These kinds of problems are still something that's very much in the sphere of the lives that these rappers are living.
Biggie was in L.A. last week for the Soul Train Music Award.
What's up, Cali?
Notorious B.I.G. flirted with death in his music and his life.
If I was dead, I wouldn't have to worry about nothing. I could just lay up, either I'll be in heaven or hell.
His next album, due out later this month, is entitled Life After Death. In the rap world, that's another sad refrain heard all too often. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
In the world of rap music, threats of violence are part of the show. But now, for the second time in 6 months, real-life violence has taken the life of a rap star. Once again, it was a drive-by murder and raises questions about what's going on in the record business. Correspondent Bill Whitaker reports from Los Angeles.
It was the kind of violence that was a recurring theme in his music. 24-year-old Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie Smalls, gunned down in a drive-by shooting outside a music industry party in L.A. early Sunday. In this interview last week at a San Francisco radio station, he seemed to see it coming.
They're going to attack you if you're on top, you know what I'm saying? That's your job to bob and weave, you know what I'm saying? I need the security.
Born Christopher Wallace, he was big in the world of rap, an admitted former Brooklyn, New York crack dealer who parlayed his criminal rap sheet into a popular gangsta persona, rapping with brutal language about the violence, drugs, pain, and desperation of inner-city life.
He was articulate, his raps were very descriptive, and he proved to be a very philosophical presence.
Biggie's death comes almost exactly 6 months after the drive-by slaying of his arch-rival, California rapper Tupac Shakur in Las Vegas. They squabbled publicly over who had the most authentic street credentials. It was the most visible sign of a violent struggle between East Coast rap moguls and their West Coast competitors for dominance of the lucrative gangster rap market. After Shakur's death, both coasts publicly embraced.
You never had a problem. You're just speaking about it now because enough is enough.
But the LAPD is investigating whether Biggie's murder may have been in retaliation for Shakur's, something fans on both coasts seem to believe.
I don't understand why East Coast and West Coast are going at it like this, killing people. This does nothing. This makes no sense.
Rap music is getting to a point where everybody has beefs with each other, and it's just getting to a point where it's getting out of hand.
The U.S. government apparently thinks so too. A federal law enforcement task force currently is investigating the rap music industry and possible links to drug and gun violations and other crimes. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The other guy.
Yeah, yes. Next to bedside stuff again, and then socks. Okay. There are cops just running down the subway right now. I don't know what's going on. A whole bunch of people are running into the subway. Let Fauché get that. We got to do 230 hit.
It was supposed to be a gathering to remember, honor, and to grieve the death of rap superstar, the notorious B.I.G. But the tribute turned ugly, and before it ended, it would mirror the violent images Biggie often rapped about. Fans clashed with police following a funeral procession down St. James Street, where Biggie grew up. A number of arguments and fights broke out as fans swarmed the streets. An army of cops responded to the outbreak, spraying mace and arresting at least 6 people, including New York Times reporter Julia Campbell. However, the Times blasted the cops for detaining Campbell and says she was just doing her job. But late tonight, NYPD brass offered this explanation for the arrest.
She was arrested for disorderly conduct. She refused several lawful orders for her to move, and in fact, pushed one of our officers, and she was arrested for that.
With police was just another black eye on a dark and somber day for the hip-hop community, who've lost their 2 biggest stars, Biggie and Tupac, in just 6 months. Many, including Sean Puffy Combs, who signed Biggie to his label, Queen Latifah and Luther Campbell, Tretch, Busta Rhymes, Mary J. Blige, and an emotional Little Kim were just some of the stars gathered to say goodbye. Former Mayor David Dinkins also attended to pay his respects. Biggie was laid to rest today in a ceremony that focused more on the life he wanted to live instead of the one he often glorified.
I think Big won out of life what we all want, you know, success. We want money, we want children, we want a family. And I think that that's what he was becoming before, you know, before he got killed.
He wanted nothing but peace. He wanted nothing but peace. He wanted nothing but love, spread it.
Ironically, on Biggie's debut album, he rapped more about violence, sex, and the fact that he was ready to die.
I'm ready to die and nobody can save me.
But ready or not, someone with a gun decided it was time for 24-year-old Christopher Wallace to indeed die. His murder March 9th in L.A. rocked the rap community, further fueled the East versus West Coast rivalry, and stunned his Brooklyn neighborhood, a neighborhood where Biggie once sold drugs but used the rap game as his ticket out. His ticket to fame, fortune, and even respect.
It's a loss to his family, as well as the community, and as well as the rap industry.
This was his home right here, so of course this is where people feel it, you know, the deepest. This is where he lived, this is his people. You know, that's why you see such a lot of people out here today, a show of support.
Chief, establish your full name first, please, for all of us.
Yeah, my name is Joseph Dunn, D-U-N-N-E, Assistant Chief, New York City Police Department.
Can you want to explain what happened here, actually?
Yes, the funeral entourage for Biggie Small came through St. James Place this afternoon sometime at around 2 o'clock. After the funeral entourage left, some people entered Fulton Street and became disorderly. Several scuffles broke out and arrests were made.
Can you tell us, there's some people are saying that the police took, some witnesses claim anyway, that the police used a baton on a man with a child.
I'm not going, I don't know anything about that. You were out there and you saw what was going on. The police acted responsibly and with a minimal of force. 5 arrests were made, several officers were hurt. And you'll hear all sorts of stuff, but I take that with a grain of salt. There was a very large crowd here, as you could see, and the crowd was building as the hours went on. We wanted to provide public safety here. And Fulton Street is a major commercial area. There were a lot of people here, and we needed police here just to deal with the crowd. And as you could see, 99% of this crowd was good and orderly, and they showed their respects to this man in the proper way. But several got out of hand. You saw that vehicles were damaged by people jumping up and down on the vehicles after the entourage left, and we needed to stop that, and we did.
Did you use any chemical spray?
I understand that some mace was used. I don't know that for a fact, but I believe there was some mace used.
Do you know who it was used at?
No.
What about the reports that a New York Times reporter was actually assaulted by the police despite the fact that she identified herself as a working press?
No, I don't know anything about an assault on a New York Times reporter. There was an arrest of a reporter. She was issued a universal summons for discon.
Why? Why exactly?
She was disorderly. I don't know the details of that. She was issued a summons for disorderly conduct.
Do you know how many cars were damaged?
No, I saw myself at least 6 vehicles were damaged.
And the 5 who were arrested, what were the charges?
We believe discon in the main. I don't know. I heard that too, and I don't know that to be a fact. No, I could tell you we have 4 injured police officers, though, if you're interested.
What were the nature of their injuries?
I don't have their names.
The nature of the injuries?
I don't know yet.
Were they serious injuries?
Pardon me?
400 police officers were on the scene today.
Who told you that?
No, 4 police officers were
injured. Do you have any civilians have injured?
We had approximately at the height about 150 police officers here.
Do you know how many civilians were injured?
I don't know how many civilians, if any, were injured.
So again, you want to...
I don't know.
So again, you say the officers acted responsibly.
Yes, I believe they did.
Last question. What were the officers, what were the injuries they suffered?
Largely superficial injuries.
And you said that it was 6 arrests altogether so far.
I said 4 arrests, I believe.
4 arrests?
Yes.
What's the approximation of the crowd size?
I think there were anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500 people here.
I'm sorry, I thought you said 5 arrests. How many altogether?
I'm sorry, 5 arrests, excuse me.
Okay. That includes the New York Times reporter?
No, that's in addition would be 6 with the New York Times reporter.
Okay. The nature of the police injuries, though, were they just like pushed around?
You want to go to this despite the fact it hasn't started, or what do you want to do? Yes, I do. I'll copy it. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Lieutenant Ross Moen. I'm the commanding officer of Wilshire Detective Division. I want to thank you very much for being here because we are requesting your assistance, and we're requesting assistance from all the media, including the magazines. And I have to tell you that I've got numerous calls from Great Britain, New York, around the world with an interest in this case. Last Sunday morning at 0045 hours, just shortly after midnight, at the conclusion of a party at the Peterson Museum located on the southeast corner of Wilshire and Fairfax Avenue, after exiting the museum, an individual who's everybody knows is Notorious Big, B.I.G., a notorious rap singer, was shot and killed after he had left the location. Up on the board behind me shows a diagram in which he was in the lead Suburban, followed by another Suburban with bodyguards, when the vehicle, suspect vehicle, which is a dark, we believe, sedan, drove up along to the right side of the vehicle, fired numerous shots into the passenger door of the Suburban, hitting Mr. Big numerous times. He was transported in the Suburban to Cedars-Sinai Hospital, where he was pronounced dead, guilty of multiple gunshot wounds. Again, I have to tell you that the Los Angeles Police Department right now is currently involved in interviewing approximately 200 witnesses, a number of them from out of the city, several of them obviously from New York, who were part of the entourage with Mr. Big. We have some information that we're following up and some leads already that we hope to help us culminate and solve this investigation. But if, in the meantime, with this amount of press, we hope to have your viewers and your readers come forward with more information. We have a number of witnesses who fled the scene. I think that's the best word. They left without identifying themselves, and trying to put that group together is extremely difficult and tiring, and it would really help our investigators if they came forward. We are, at the meantime right now, hopefully with some of the witnesses, to being able to get a drawing of our suspect. When that happens, we will put that out on the press.
How good a description of the suspect do you have, sir?
We have a male black in his early 20s, and that's the description we have right now.
Senator, you look at this as payback for the Shakur. I mean, it's no secret they were bitter enemies. Is there any way that this could be some kind of payback or retaliation for what happened in Las Vegas?
The detective investigation is going directly in all kinds of directions, and we're not overlooking any possibility of a payback or a gang-related type shooting. We're not overlooking the fact that this was possibly a hit, a directed target. coming out of probably New York, could have come out of LA, could have come out of Atlanta. We're looking at this in connection with a number of murders that have occurred around the country dealing with rap singers. Obviously, we had one as early as 2 years ago at the El Rey murder, or at the El Rey Theater following the Soul Music Awards. I do have to tell you there's 20 detectives who are working on this under the direction of Kelly Cooper, and we do feel that we will be able to, with this amount of effort put into it and the cooperation of your viewers, solve it.
Didn't the bodyguards see anything? Didn't the bodyguards that were with the Notorious B.I.G., didn't they see anything?
We have interviewed several of them. We have gotten descriptions from them. Yes, they did see some of them, quite frankly, when the shots started, ducked. Did a normal reaction, and that's their statement, is that they did not see what happened at that time.
Isn't that the same thing that happened with the Tupac Shakur killing, where there were bodyguards on the scene, yet somehow they managed not to see anything?
The realization I think you have to believe is that when somebody's shooting at you, your first reaction is not to get a description of them, but to take cover, duck, close your eyes, get out of there, move, and that's what happened. It was a very fast sequence of events with a 9mm weapon. And that's all I can tell you about the weapon at this time. Witnesses have said there were more than one person in the car, but we're focusing on the driver of the vehicle at this time.
In other words, the driver was the assailant, was the person?
We believe the driver was the assailant.
Lieutenant, witnesses, cooperative, uncooperative?
The witnesses we've interviewed have been cooperative. Those that haven't come forward or we haven't talked to yet, I can't tell you about. We hope they will be.
Sir, have you identified the other individuals who were in Mr. Biggs' vehicle with him at the time, as well as the bodyguard vehicle?
Not all of them.
Well,
not all of them. There are several individuals we believe were in the vehicle, and we don't have their identification yet.
Was Sean Puffy Combs one of the individuals?
He was in one of the vehicles, yes.
Was he with Mr. Big?
I don't think so.
Lieutenant, you mentioned other incidents in other cities. Can you specify what murders those rap-related murders those were? And we know about Vegas and Tupac, but you mentioned New York and Atlanta.
No, I can't. You'd have to refer to those cities and ask them what they have on it. As far as
when you said the hit may have come from New York, I mean, can you give us more detail? Why would New York be involved?
No, I said New York, Atlanta. We're not eliminating Las Vegas or any place. In our investigation, we're not restricting it to the city of Los Angeles for any reason, for any purpose, for motive or suspects.
Did he ask for any protection prior to that?
Are you connecting the other violent acts to this one?
We're looking at those as a possible connection. When we're talking about the other murders, we obviously cannot eliminate the fact that there's been a number of murders involving rap singers. Yes, we have to look at those, and yes, we think there may be a possibility, so therefore we're going to talk to the other detectives in the other cities.
That would suggest that there's some validity to reports that there is a rift between East and West Coast rappers when they say, no, that isn't the case.
I would believe there's always a possibility when you have a highly competitive, lucrative business as the rap groups, that there, anything that I have read or heard as far as a rift, I have no personal knowledge of. It's what, like you, I've read in the paper that said perhaps there was a difference between the distribution company out of East Coast versus West Coast.
Is that the most likely scenario at this point that investigators are focusing on? Is that it was related to something like that?
We're not really focusing on any one specific aspect. We're looking at witnesses who can give us an identification. We're talking to people who hopefully can tell us who's involved in this murder. We're not overlooking the fact of whether it was a rival rap group or whatever, or narcotics related, gang related. We're looking at all those aspects.
This involves many cities. Do you think there's going to be a federal government or federal investigation on the rap music industry that you might be involved with as well?
No, I'm strictly involved in solving this murder right now, and as far as any supposition, as far as a national or federal task force doing any investigation, again, I'd refer you to the federal side.
Well, have you been in contact with police departments in other cities?
Have been in contact with federal agencies, other task force, and other departments, yes.
Federal agencies? Back to cooperation, would you say...
Out of the Justice Department.
The people in all the vehicles that you've interviewed, are they cooperating? Would you characterize them as being cooperative witnesses, or are people just stonewalling and not talking? Anybody that was in the car that may have been directly involved in the shooting itself?
The degree of cooperation varies, but we would have to say generally cooperative.
Lieutenant, could you explain how many people were in the cars again?
Since I don't know, it would be difficult. We feel there was probably 5 people in each of the 2 Suburbans. We don't know that for a fact yet. In each of the 2 vehicles that you see depicted up there, which is the 2 Suburban vehicles that had left, followed by a black Blazer.
So there could have been 4 other people in the Suburban with Big?
Yes. And 5 in the Suburban in front of him, and 4 or 5 in the Blazer behind him.
Was anybody else hit?
No, not to our knowledge.
Do you have any information as to whether he was lying in wait or attended the party where this vehicle came from?
I would think the indications were that if he was the intended target and he was hit, that someone had to be laying in wait for him to come out. To answer your question.
He was at the party?
Could have been. Whether I think so or not, I don't have a thought on that. I can answer your question. Could the shooter have been at the party earlier? Possibly. I don't know.
Sir, can you show us on those vehicles you've drawn on your diagram, point to which one is which vehicle?
Yes, I will.
Thank
Be glad
you.
to.
Can you give us some sort of a perspective on who these witnesses are? It was an industry party. Or a number of them in the industry? Are they from out of town?
There are a number of them that are in the industry, yes. There were what you would call the entourage, which is not necessarily in the industry, but they go along with the group, and there are rap lovers, people who are there as fans. And it was a celebration of the Soul Music Awards that occurred on Friday night, and they'd been in town for approximately 3 weeks with the entourage, so that's, I believe, just a culmination party on Saturday night at the Peterson Museum.
Have you contacted Vibe Magazine for a guest list, since there is the possibility that the shooter may have come from inside, or at least knew of his presence there? Have you contacted the people who threw the party for a guest list, considering the possibility that the shooter may have come from inside, or at least knew that Biggie Smalls was going to be there?
We have done a number of things along that line to locate witnesses who may have seen the shooting.
Are you doing anything to prevent any possible further violence that might be an outgrowth of this incident, either in, West Coast-based rap groups or among the gangs here?
I believe the best thing we can do as far as preventing any further violence or any paybacks on this is solving this murder as quickly as possible.
Lieutenant, have you warned anybody? Have you warned anybody?
No.
Was the victim's window open or closed when he was shot?
I don't know. I asked that question, and I wasn't at the hospital to see if the vehicle had glass in it or not.
Sir, did the gunman...
To answer your question, the window was apparently closed when they fired into the vehicle.
Did the gunman say anything at all before firing the shot?
We have no witnesses that said anything was said before the shots being fired.
Did the fire department shut down the party early due to overcrowding?
Yes.
Lieutenant, did any of the people who talked to in Mr. Big's car indicate that he had received threats or anything like that prior to this weekend?
I don't have any specific information on any threats to Mr. Big. I would have to believe, as visible and notorious as he was, there is a very strong possibility that he may or may not have. I mean, it's a very vague answer because I don't have any information to do that for you.
Any clothing description on the suspect from eyewitness accounts?
No.
Can you tell us exactly how many witnesses have been interviewed today?
No, I can't. I cannot because, like I said, we have 20 investigators assigned to this out of Wilshire detectives, plus 2 detectives out of our criminal apprehension section downtown, and interviews are going on right now. I would estimate we have another 150 witnesses to interview.
So we've done about 50. Would that be about right?
I'm not sure.
Lieutenant, a lot of us covering this story don't know a whole lot about rap and have had to do some quick research over the last couple of hours. What about your investigators? I mean, have they got a brief, quick history on rap and the interconnectedness?
You actually have an advantage over myself as far as if you've done 3 hours of research on the history of rap in the United States. I have been briefed on the history of the rap violence that has occurred in the last several years in the different groups and their involvement. As far as the history of the rap music industry itself, no, but as far as the criminal aspects of it, yes, we have.
Sir, it's been 6 months now since Tupac Shakur was killed, and I'd like to find out, are you reasonably confident with the information and the suspect
that you have now, to think that you will come up with something strong as far as evidence within the next bunch of days, or does it look like this is one of these investigations that can really drag on?
No, I'm very confident that we're going to solve this murder.
Has Faith Evans given a statement, Mr. Biggs' ex-wife or estranged wife, mother of his child? Has she spoken to police yet?
We talked to her, you know, at the hospital, and she was at the hospital.
Was she able to provide?
No comment on any comment that she made. You may talk to her if possible, but no comment no comment on anybody's statements as far as any of our interviews at this time.
Can you say if she was in the vehicle with him, or in his entourage vehicles?
I don't know.
Did it appear to the detectives that this was a hitman based on his skills at firing?
It would be extremely difficult for me to give a profile on the shooter as far as his expertise or history of being a hitman. No, I have no knowledge of that. Realizing what had happened, the close range, close proximity, I don't think it necessarily took an expert to do what he did.
How many shots were fired?
I didn't say numerous shots. Those that have the videotape of the vehicle can see that there was numerous shots fired into the passenger door.
How many times was the vehicle's moving?
I didn't say.
Was the vehicle's moving?
The vehicle was stopped at the time.
It was in the middle of the street.
Yes.
Because of the light, or just...
What I can depict for you up on the drawing, as you see, what's on the left, which would be lane N2, northbound lane on Fairfax Boulevard, is a Suburban followed by a second Suburban that pulled out of the Peterson Museum parking lot with our victim, Mr. Big, in the second vehicle. When another vehicle, and this is the dark vehicle containing the suspect, pulled up along the right side, and we believe from our witnesses' statements, the driver fired from that vehicle numerous shots into the driver's door of the second Suburban. I can point it out to you so it'll look a little clearer, but basically, here's the Peterson Museum. For your clarification, this is Wilshire Boulevard running east-west, Fairfax Boulevard running north-south. Here's the north. Coming out of the Peterson building was the first Suburban, and then we had the second Suburban, which Mr. Big was in, and the suspect vehicle pulled up alongside. First vehicle or second vehicle, right?
Second vehicle.
But when I have to tell you, the vehicles were stopped here at the red light.
So he was a passenger then? He couldn't have been driving?
He was the driver. Now, Mr. Big is sitting here, right? In the right front passenger seat of the Suburban. The other vehicle pulls up alongside. Excuse my graphic artist here, please. And the driver shoots numerous times into the vehicle.
Were any shots fired out of Biggs' car?
We have no evidence that there was any shots fired by anybody else other than the suspect at any time.
Was his entourage armed? Anyone in his entourage armed that you know of?
We believe they may have been armed. We don't know that.
How many shots did Biggie sustain?
I didn't say. Numerous shots. An autopsy was performed this morning at the LA coroner's office, and cause of death is multiple gunshot wounds to the upper body.
Was there a weapon found?
No weapon found.
But you believe they all came from the same weapon?
Yes, we do.
Does the name Jake Robles play into this at all, a case out of Atlanta?
No. Name doesn't mean anything to me. It may be, and when we finish our investigation, it may mean everything, but I have no knowledge of that at this time.
Did the vehicle with the shooter in it, did it also come out of the parking lot, or did it come up the block from?
We don't know.
You don't know?
We don't know.
Lieutenant, one other thing that was unclear, or maybe I just missed it. Was there a light there? What would have been the reason for his car to have been stopped?
There was a signal light at that intersection, and he was stopped for the red light.
Did somebody give chase to him, the suspect, or?
One of the security vehicles gave chase as the suspect vehicle proceeded eastbound on Wilshire Boulevard, went a couple of blocks and never saw the vehicle again.
He never got the license plate number of that vehicle?
No.
What was the security company that was providing the security for that party?
I don't have the name of the company.
But it's one of their people that tried to make chase?
One of the security people that they had hired that made chase.
So it was that particular van right there that made chase?
No, it was the Blazer that was following behind the two Suburbans. There was a third security vehicle that was behind the two Suburbans.
Oh, a private security that was for Mr. Big himself or for?
Yes. The question was there another vehicle involved? And there was. That was a third security vehicle, which is a Blazer that was following the two Suburbans. That vehicle took chase of the suspect vehicle, never saw it. After the suspect vehicle made a right turn eastbound on Wilshire.
It was Mr. Big security, not the museums or parties, right?
Mr. Big security.
Do you know what location?
Part of his entourage is what how it's been explained.
Do you know what location the entourage was headed to from the party?
No, I do not.
Do you have any more details about the vehicle that she was in? Was it a sedan? Was it a SUV? Was it?
I do not. We've had various descriptions. We know that it was a dark vehicle, and we believe it was a sedan.
With the number of officers assigned to this case, the nature of the case being high profile, would you say that this is your top priority right now as an investigation?
Right now in Wilshire Detectives, it's a top priority from the standpoint of you have 200 witnesses that you have to interview, that you need to put a lot of people and a lot of resources into it immediately to interview those witnesses. And with the high profile, with the number or the extreme interest that we're getting from around the world in this investigation.
Sean, Puppy comes back in New York, or do you know if he's still here in LA? Puppy comes.
I don't know where he is at this time.
Was there any indications of any altercations inside the party prior to the shooting?
No.
Has there been any retaliation?
The questions when you heard me say no, the question was asked if there was any indications of any type of altercations inside Peterson Museum prior to the shooting. We have no knowledge of any.
Have there been any retaliatory shootings as there were in the after the Tupac incident? Have there been any shootings on the streets of Compton or anywhere else related to the shooting of Big?
We have no knowledge of any other shootings relating indirectly or directly to this shooting anywhere in the city or anywhere outside the city for that matter.
What about this Don Harrell shooting his gun? What was that about?
That was unrelated to our knowledge. We believe it was an unrelated incident occurring with an individual who had a gun, who after the party was being broke up, fired his weapon several times into the air, not at anyone directly, and was subsequently arrested.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In this moment, I need either now or later from you an update on the shooting on Friday on Manhattan Place.
That's being handled by the federal and postal authorities. They handle the entire investigation with the Attorney General's office issuing the arrest and search warrant. The arrest was made in that case, but you'd have to contact the press relations out of the postal authorities for that.
Los Angeles police reportedly are investigating the notorious Crips Street gang in connection with the drive-by murders of two popular rappers. Tupac Shakur was shot in Las Vegas last year, and the notorious B.I.G. was gunned down earlier this month.
It's been more than 2.5 years since rapper Notorious B.I.G. was shot and killed. Now police are looking at one of their former officers as possibly being involved. According to a story in today's LA Times, former officer David Mack may have conspired to provide a hitman to kill the rap star. Notorious B.I.G., his real name Christopher Wallace, was shot and killed outside the Peterson Automotive Museum in March of 1997. He'd been attending a music industry party when his car was riddled with bullets. According to documents obtained by the Times, Mack, who is now serving a 14-year prison sentence for bank robbery, may have arranged the contract killing. Mack was a former partner of ex-officer Rafael Perez, who is at the center of the LAPD Rampart scandal. The Times published this photograph, allegedly from a police file, of both Mack and Perez standing together back in 1997. Perez's testimony has led to at least 12 officers being relieved of duty, prompting the largest corruption investigation in LAPD history. Sources say the Mack connection right now is just a theory and one of many theories detectives are working on. But it certainly has to be a theory that causes great concerns here at Parker Center. In downtown LA, David Goldstein, KCAL 9 News.
While the music of Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G. live on, so does the mystery of who put an end to their young lives.
can't believe this. You don't get popped by other cops when you're a cop.
Tupac is just as popular even after his death and just as visible, with last month's release of his film Gang-Related fueling rumors he's still alive. But autopsy photos published in this new book called The Killing of Tupac Shakur may put an end to those rumors. Meanwhile, the man Las Vegas police once named as suspect in Shakur's murder, alleged Los Angeles Crips gang member Orlando Anderson, is suing the rapper's estate. Anderson has never been charged.
Orlando Anderson completely denies having anything to do with the murder of Tupac Shakur. He does do that. But there's more to the story.
Vibe magazine's latest issue features an interview with Anderson as well as an in-depth look at Tupac's murder. Anderson's lawsuit contends that he was assaulted by the rapper in the lobby of the MGM Grand Hotel, captured here on surveillance video. In turn, Shakur's mother has filed a wrongful death suit against Anderson, alleging that he is the one who fired the gun that killed her son. Suge Knight, the man who was driving the car when Shakur was shot, also alludes to the fact that it was Anderson, who some say is also known as Baby Lane, pulled the trigger.
Suge Knight names an individual named Baby Lane as who he thinks is responsible for Tupac's murder. He does not say Orlando Anderson's name, and Orlando Anderson said
Notorious B.I.G. also remains unsolved, but one of the people reportedly questioned about his murder is a man by the name of Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. He is allegedly listed in police files as a member of the Los Angeles Crips, and interestingly enough, he is Orlando Anderson's uncle. His car has been seized, but he's not been named as an official suspect, but B.I.G.'s family is not so sure about the police gang theories.
They probably just count him off as another gang killing or something, you know. And he wasn't in a gang, so, I mean, it wasn't a gang killing. As far as I'm concerned, it was my husband being murdered.
One of the biggest sources of info for LAPD has come from this sketch of a suspect they released shortly after the murder, but police still have not made an arrest. B.I.G.'s widow, Faith, and his mother are offering their own reward to the person who finds his killer.
I mean, one at all try to shame, you know, the LAPD, but it's like his murder as well as Tupac's. I don't understand how could they not, you know, have any leads. I'm sure they have a lot. Maybe they're not following the right ones, you know.
But while both killings are upsetting to many, some positive has come from their deaths, according to XXL senior editor Rob Marriott.
Hip-hop is starting to take on a new attitude, and people are kind of using the sadness they feel and the confusion to focus on building new things.
Still, there remains hope that the murders will be solved.
there is a lot going on, and I think that things are going to continue to percolate, and the investigations are only going to continue.
It's your boy Gotti. So this video here is about the East and West beef. And you know, if you know about the East and West beef, and you know how it started, a lot of niggas say it started from Biggie and Pac. It really didn't. East and West beef started way before Biggie and Pac. You know what I'm saying? They really jumped off. It was really popping off way before that. Like, niggas can remember, you know, dudes was hating on Hammer when he first came to New York. And a lot of people in New York wasn't really, if you wasn't in the know, they wasn't really rocking with West Coast music. So when Hammer and NWA came out here, you know, dudes was violating. A perfect example of a story. NWA came to Apollo Theater twice. they booed him. Second time they came, in 91, R.I.P. B.O. and them had to get them out the building. Save their life. You understand what I'm saying? Because the mob style niggas came on stage and they was on some, wanted to get it popping with NWA, right? It's a true story. I know fabricated. A true event, true story. This is, any OG will tell you about this story that mob style niggas came on stage and B.O. and them got NWA out the building at the Apollo Theater. It's a true story. So the East and West shit been going on way before the beef with Pac and Big. When it really got to the point where it got really crazy was when, I would say, when Tim Dog did Fuck Compton. Nobody talk about that. No. Nobody talk about that. Nobody talk about the F Compton record, because that's the origins of the East and West beef. Now everybody loves to talk about Hit 'em Up. Everybody loves to talk about that, but people don't understand is Pac and Biggie beef was not an East and West beef. It was a Bad Boy and Death Row beef, and it was on some cointelpro shit. If you really look at that whole situation, right? Pac was from Harlem, born in Harlem, raised in the Bronx, right? Corrupt from Philly, right? So it was East Coast dudes associated with, you know, a West Coast label, but it was Death Row and Bad Boy. There's never no East and West shit that the media, the mainstream media, try to put out there. Vibe magazine and them try to put out there to sell magazines. It wasn't. You know what I'm saying? What it was Bad Boy versus Death Row. And Pac had an anger towards Biggie and them because of what Haitian Jack and Jimmy Henchman and, you know, and other dudes like Little Sean and them was involved in a situation that happened in Quad, or knew what happened, and they never told nobody. So when you involved in a situation where dude almost lost his life, he gets shot 5 times. He doesn't die, but he gets shot 5 times. You know what I'm saying? He goes to jail for guns that wasn't his. You know what I'm saying? These are the things that happens, right? He comes out, I would be mad too. I'm going to jail for something that I ain't do. I'd be mad too. But, like I said, nigga came home, did what he did, sold 5 mil. You know what I'm saying? It didn't get to the crazy part until the entourages and stuff like that. But all this shit was a lot of government shit to it. It was cointelpro. They didn't want to see 2 black niggas, 2 young black niggas be successful in the music industry. Let's keep it real. Everybody that was involved in the whole situation was friends. Puff and Suge was cool. Big and Pac was cool. Puff and Pac was cool. Big and Suge was cool. All the parties was cool. They partied with each other and all that. But what happened was, how was that B one and one head nigga in charge? And if you really look at it, nobody was supposed to survive that. You know what I'm saying? And the sad part is that everybody want to say, well, Suge did this, or Puff did this. Nah, man. There was other intricate plots that happened, and that people just keep want to say that this one did this and this one did that, when it don't involve none of that. You know what I'm saying? But You gotta look, man. Nobody wanna see black men unify and be successful and get money. They wanna see us beef. You know what I'm saying? If what didn't happen at Quad Studio didn't happen to Tupac, bro, there wouldn't be no beef. You know what I'm saying? One incident fucked up a whole trajectory of shit. That one incident caused a lot of brothers to lose their lives and fucked up a whole culture forever. You know what I'm saying? Due to the fact that hating ass niggas and Asian ass niggas did some Asian shit. A lying ass chick like Ian Jackson lied and said a nigga did something that he ain't do. And this is all that's coming from that. So when you really look at that whole East and West shit, it came off of some bullshit. You know, dudes got really take a look. You know, Keefe D ran his mouth. Him running his mouth got him where he at right now. You can't even feel sorry for him. Because nigga, you ran your mouth to the point that you got what you asked for. You got what you asked for, so he's another one. He did it to himself. You know, so that's what happened with Keefe D, man. And that's what happened with a lot of them dudes with that situation. You know? So, you know, Gene wasn't lying, you know? Gene was telling the facts. Shout out to Del-Ray. He wasn't lying. He was talking the facts. There's a lot of dudes talking the facts about this whole situation. It's deeper than Nino Brown, man. It's deeper. It's just niggas caught up in the semantics and caught in the matrix. But it's deeper than Nino, son. You know? It's what it is, man. It's your boy Bullets Gotti, man. Like, when you go back and you look at the whole East and West shit, you know, going into what happened at Quad Studio, you know, because a lot of people got to understand this, right? What happened in Quad Studio and Shorty lying on Tupac, there wouldn't be no issues. And I don't really think it was an East and West beef. I think people hyped it up to be an East and West beef, which it really wasn't. You know, and that's what I'm saying, like, in the second half of this video, is there never was an East and West beef. The mass media, Vibe magazine, and the media pundits said an East and West beef. Pac is from Harlem. Big's from Brooklyn. Puff's from Mount Vernon / Harlem, Mount Vernon. Sugar's from Cali. But the majority of the whole beef wasn't a West Coast beef. It was an incident that happened where, like everybody said, you know, Big was on. What really triggered the East, it was never the Source Awards. What really upped the ante with the East and West beef, the fake East and West beef, but I call it cointelpro 3.0, was basically the trailer getting shot up, Biggie going on the radio telling Brooklyn stand up, and the trailer getting shot up. And with the trailer getting shot up, you get the beef that you get, the East and West beef. But before then, there wasn't no East and West beef. There was just brothers having a disagreement, you know, and somebody, you know, basically getting shot, you know, 5 times and almost could have lost his life. You know, a lot of people don't look at it that Pac got shot multiple times. And not only that, he got shot 5 times and was set up and lined up in that quad. You know what I'm saying? When he came there to do a record. And because Son felt some type of way, and he sent the East Flatbush OG in there to do what he did, this is why Pac gets shot 5 times. You know what I'm saying? Now, with the whole thing with the Keefe D thing, let's just keep it real, man. It's deeper than Keefe D. It's deeper than that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want to say Puff did this, Puff did that. Puff was a victim in the situation, too. Everybody was. Because they wanted to not only just kill Big, they wanted to kill Puff. They wanted to kill Suge and Pac. It wasn't no what people try to say, oh, they just... No, it was a targeting of all four of them. You know what I'm saying? And basically, you know, like Pac said, man, somebody had to be the head of the nigga kingdom. It was only one motherfucker that was going to be the head of the nigga kingdom. So when everybody's trying to say Puff, 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 Puff don't got nothing to do with that. You know, it's deeper than Puff. Yes, they had a beef. Yes, it was a bounty on chains, but let's keep it real. Like Gene said, Puff is a businessman. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. So to insinuate that Puff was responsible, just like what Pac said. Puff and Big didn't have nothing to do with what happened in Quad Studio. He said that in numerous interviews. They keep saying it was Big and Puff that lined them up. No, he said who did it, who lined them up. He addressed them on Against All Odds. He told y'all who set them up. He told you what happened. It had nothing to do with Puff and Big. Like you listen to Treach and everybody that said Big and them was coming to Cali. You hear Gene talk about it. They was coming out there to Cali. Suge said, ain't no beef. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, you got to understand, a lot of these dudes were friends. Puff was cool with Pac. Suge was cool with Puff and Big. What happened was, like everything else, look at what happened with the Black Panther Party. Look what happened with a lot of black activists. COINTELPRO. It happened with the Nation of Islam. It happens with everybody that's successful and black. So it's a lot of, like Hassan say, you know, even though me and Hassan go through our differences, but it's military mind games when you really want to look at it. Because there's no way in hell that you could look at a beef and say that all these people hated each other. And then when you look at videos and you see all these dudes together in the club, there's no beef there. You know, I think what people got to realize and actually take a look and just look at it is that this was about selling records. Now, people took it as this was a coastal beef, but it was about selling records. But the powers that be didn't want to see two successful black multi-millionaires. They didn't want to see that. And it's sad that what happened to Pac and Big is the same thing that happened to Malcolm and Martin. You know? It's just, these dudes was they was, you know, all friends. There's videos of Puff chilling with Suge and partying with Suge. Puff chilling with Pac. You know, these dudes was cool. But like they say, man, it's deeper than what, like Gene said, man. Pac murderers is still at large. You know, because it's deeper than rap. It's deeper than rap. It's deeper than rap. Because there's more things that happen in that night. You know what I'm saying? They always try to tie in Zip. Zip was dead, right? Before Zip died, Keefe D came to New York, tried to get information, and they didn't have nothing on Zip. So everything that Keefe D said was a bold-faced lie. He said Orlando did it, put his nephew under the bus. Everybody knew that Orlando didn't shoot Pac. Everybody was saying, Gene said it. Everybody said it. Even I just was watching all the dialogue. Even the cop, the LAPD, he was LAPD, Compton police, and all of them. They said Big Dre was the one that shot Pac. Yak said a black arm. Nobody said it was a skinny arm. They said a big black arm. But people continuously to say, yo, this one did that and Puff did this and Puff did that. The thing is, They want to tie Puff in this, but Puff don't got nothing to do with this. Because it's deeper than Puff, it's deeper than Suge. Just like they like to say that, oh, Suge got Biggie killed. Puff got Pac killed. Let's keep it real, man. Let's keep it all the way real. In both situations, that is not the case. That is not true. Shout out to Delroy. I always have to say, shout out to Delray, and shout out to the Art of Dialogue, and shout out to Gene Deal, who been chopping it up. Now, I don't have an issue with Reggie Wright. You know what I'm saying? Because Reggie Wright say some truths, but Reggie Wright be on some bullshit sometimes. I like Reggie. You know, I like all the brothers. You know, I like all their platforms. But it's deeper than what people trying to say is not what it is. It's deeper than rap. Everybody knew Keefe D was going to get locked up because his dumb ass talked too fucking much. Everybody knew that. And he should have shut the fuck up. His arrogance got him caught up in the situation that he's in. Now, everything that's coming out, you know, when I've been doing a lot of Pac content, everything that's been coming out about Pac is that Pac, you got to understand, Pac been doing a whole, what it is with the Pac story, right? And the Biggie story, right? These was guys that was cool with each other. That basically two informants, right? From Brooklyn destroyed that. Well, one, I should say. Haitian Jack. Haitian Jack was the one that introduced Pac to Ayanna Jackson. Haitian Jack was the one that, when the shit jumped off at the hotel, the chick said Pac, but didn't say nobody else. So, if that situation never happened and Pac dubbed this shorty, you know, who was a known hoe throughout Brooklyn. Ayanna Jackson was a known 304 throughout Brooklyn. Everybody knew her. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't just only with Pac. She was with a lot of dudes in Brooklyn and in New York in general. So she was ran through. And Pac was just that one that it was his turn. But being that it was his turn, the chick told on him. Now, a lot of dudes don't want to tell the truth. A lot of dudes want to say this and that. But the ones that know. You know, a lot of people say Tut didn't shoot Pac. Tut was on the scene. Tut had his Rolex on. But who really was involved in that was the kid out of Flatbush, East Flatbush. From the 90s to be exact, who was locked up in Otisville right now with Tut, who is Little Sean's homie, big homie. That was the one that did what he did to Pac and pistol whipped him and shot him. And all that chain of events started what they supposedly want to tell you a East-West war, when it was never East-West war. He was still getting love in the East Coast. Death Row was still getting love. Pac was still getting love from the Pistol Petes and the Preems and Eric B's and Big D's and Chaz and many other dudes. But he just didn't have the same trust for certain dudes because of what happened to him at Quad, which is understandable. You get shot. How many times he gets shot? Would you trust motherfuckers? No. So, it is what it is, man. It's your boy Bullets Gotti, man. I just wanted to do that to let y'all know, man, that the East and West beef is propaganda. That's all it is. It's propaganda. Anybody that could sit there and tell you it's not propaganda, it's propaganda. There was always an agenda behind it because the media wanted to sell magazines. They wanted to sell records. It's propaganda. And it was the sad thing is that two people lost their lives. Or, let me just say this. 3 people lost their lives. Because now, Sugar's incarcerated. He lost his business and everything. Pac died. Biggie died. Puff, even though Puff is financially right, but he still got to live with the fact that all this happened off of some bullshit. Because dudes felt like they violated that Pac violated them because he felt the way. He wasn't feeling Jimmy Henchman energy. There's no knock on, no disrespect to Jimmy Henchman, but he wasn't feeling them. Is what it is.